All right, let's get started. So, just so everyone knows, today we're going to be speaking a little bit about the U.S. Air Force's Tech Accelerator, AFWERX. They've been doing some really cool programs recently. Again, as I mentioned before, Eran Herpaz is joining us. He is the head of our grant writing department. He is an encyclopedia when it comes to just everything grant related. So feel free throughout this. He will be answering questions in the Q&A section. Feel free to turn to him and ask a question, even if I'm presenting. Just to make sure, can everyone hear me? If you can, just raise your hand. Perfect. Okay, awesome. So let's get started. All right, so as I said before, the webinar overview, we're going to divide it up into two parts. The first part, we're going to talk about federal research and development funding and the basics behind that. The second part, we're going to be talking about AFWERX and AF Ventures and what they've been doing and how they've been doing it. Perfect. So just so you guys know, these are the numbers for 2020, and I know we're going to be talking about a lot about 2021. Just so everyone's aware, usually the budget for 2021 when it comes to grants comes out in around March or April. The early 2021 budget's already funded, so no worries there. The 2020 budget was $161.5 billion. It actually came out to be a little bit more because of Corona. And as you can see, it's kind of been in an upward trend ever since. And with that, so there's 161 billion total for research and development, and about 30 to 60 billion gets awarded every year to private companies. So this is a real serious piece of planning, because even if your company doesn't necessarily work with us, federal grants, especially when it comes to research and development, should be something in your toolkit, something that you know about, something that you're aware about and able to have in your back pocket to be used in the future. So there are usually two types of funding, dilutive and non-dilutive. And so I'm sure we're all on this call very familiar with dilutive funding. It comes with transfer of equity, board members, it may involve IP rights, conflicts of interest, network and unexpected flow. It's your usual venture capital, your usual financial kind of acquisition, diluting your shares in order to receive positive cash flow. Non-dilutive funding is where things get a little bit more interesting. So the U.S. government is the biggest source of non-dilutive funding, and they're not looking to change your company. They want you to run your company the way it's being run, because they believe in your innovation potentially. So again, no equity sharing, no interference, and all IP rights are maintained. And again, the U.S. government's a tier one kind of organization or client. So when we're talking about federal funding, they're really top tier, especially if you get a business to government contract, which we'll talk a little bit about later. In addition to that, federal grants are viewed as a golden seal of approval. Just from this Milken study that we have up on the screen, for every dollar that was invested through federal grants, companies in this study saw $8.38 coming to them from the private sector. That being said, in addition to that, I mean, if you're able to impress someone in Washington who's sitting behind a desk in Washington, a scientist there, and they say, hey, this is something that's worthwhile, this is something we should put money into, usually many others follow suit because, again, as we said earlier, tier one client, serious client, and many people look for that as kind of the hallmark. And so here, you guys can scan them really quick, are a few of 60,000 plus companies that have gotten their start in federal funding. Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense. And there's actually 3 technologies that you might have in your pocket right now that were backed by federal funding, Siri, GPS, and a few others. So there's 2 different types of federal funding we're going to talk about now. One is seeking solutions to agency challenges. So what does that mean? That means that they have a need, that this agency is looking at a need. Like let's take the Air Force, because that's really simple. So essentially, they need a new helmet, right? And so when they're looking for a new helmet, what they do is this. They release, give me a second, the slides are going a little slow. They need a new helmet, right? So they post an opportunity to research and development funding, and then they see what companies come back to them. And based off of that, they'll make an investment, see how that investment performs, and then they have an opportunity to become an early adopter or a customer of yours. And so now the second kind of federal funding we see isn't just for a need. It's not greedy. It's to help advance the economy and industry in general. So that you're looking more at the National Science Foundation and a few others. And so again, as we said before, altruistic. So improved quality of life, advancement of technology, job creation. I really like even when you have altruistic motives, there are still capitalistic motives. So even though you have basically these agencies that say they're altruistic, at the end of the day, they still get a return of investment on every dollar that they put into grants. They get $2.30 back, because what happened is that that company grows, it hires new employees, pays taxes when it pays salaries, it buys new equipment, and all of that kind of rolls back to them in taxes. So there's quite a bit of incentive on their end. Okay, so there's three main mechanisms we're going to talk about today. And again, there's the QR code in the corner if you ever want to schedule a call. SBIR accounts for 3.2% of the overall research and development mechanism amount awarded. Small business technology transfers account for 0.4%. And lastly, broad agency announcements account for the lion's share. And so small business innovation and research grants are broken down into three different phases. Phase one is a proof of concept, and that's usually $50,000 to $256,000. Phase two is usually a prototype stage, and so they're looking to advance the idea you brought to them originally, and that's $750,000 to $1.6 million. And then phase three has no dollar limit, and it's basically it's either a business to government contract, it could be commercialization assistance, it could be dollar for dollar matching. There's a lot of different ways phase three can occur. All right, so this graphic we got from the Department of Energy website, and essentially it really does lay out how the SBIR process works. As you can see, as mentioned, phase one is the proof of concept, and from there the dollar amounts really grow because they're advancing this technology with you, and they're looking to really gain value as time goes with the commercialization.
I just switched my speaker. I hope everyone can still hear me well. So next, broad agency announcements. They are, again, as we said before, they're the lion's share of federal funding. And what we usually see is 2 to 5 years of continuous funding. And then there's very high award ceiling. So it says 100K to 65 million, but it's usually around 1 million. And lastly, you're competing with not just small businesses. You could be competing with a Google or an Amazon, hence the term broad. So it's really anyone who can fix a need for the government. They're usually applying. So what do grants cover? They are focusing mostly on research and development. So as you can see here, it's pretty line items. But what is significant is that there's a 7% profit that you're able to use it however you want. And as I said earlier that we talk about, it's research and development funding a lot of the time leads to business to government contracts. So we see here, AFWERX has a really robust program. The Army Application Labs is not far behind. TechSearch and the Defense Innovation Unit also, as well as the DHS Silicon Valley Innovation Program, they all are looking to be clients of company. So their end goal is to interact with the private sector in a meaningful way. Okay, so now I'm going to hand the mic over to Eran, and he's going to talk a little bit about AFWERX and some of the opportunities that we've been seeing from AFWERX.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. I hope you can hear me well. So if you can, just raise your hand or post something on the chat. And if not, let me know, and I'll also switch my microphone. So I see someone raise their hand, so I guess that everything is okay. Okay, so let's go. Let's go over the three main paths or main opportunities under AFWERX. So AFWERX, as Asher said before, is the main Air Force's way of working with for-profit small businesses and big businesses and commercial entities. And their main job, their main role is to help the intake of technologies and innovation from the thank you, David, for the encouragement. Anyway, so AFWERX is the main method or mechanism of intaking innovation and products and technology from the commercial, private, civilian world and into the Air Force. So basically what you see here are the important dates. This is for the AFWERX SBIR. As you know, SBIR, Small Business Innovation Research, as Asher said before, is one of the mechanisms of support from the government. It's only for small businesses. SBIR and STTR, Small Business Technology Transfer, which is a collaboration between Asher. Can you get back? You're going a little bit too fast for me. Okay. These are the dates of the submission. So as you see, it's open, it's live now. You can go to AFWERX to search AFWERX on Google, and you get to their website. Search for AFWERX SBIR or Air Force SBIR, and you can see the solicitation and the explanation of what they're looking for and how to submit. Or obviously talk to us, and we know all about it right now because it's alive for about a week or so. So they publish the topics, they publish the solicitation and what they want to see in the submissions themselves. The submission is open on January 14, which is about 30 days from now or 29 days from now. And then we will have roughly 30 days. Remember that about a month or so for the submission itself until the deadline of February 18, assuming that they won't have any technical issues. Last cycle, which was on October, they had many issues and they extended the deadline by another 2 weeks. And for now, at least what it seems is that some of the issues are still there, but you never know, maybe everything will go. So right now, the SBIR for AFWERX, which is a part of the AFWERX, is open, and it's a very interesting opportunity. Next slide, please. So basically a few words about AFWERX. So AFWERX, as we said before, is a community of Air Force innovators who strive to connect airmen solutions across the force. They've been around for about 3 years, and this is an organization that's revolutionized the way that the Army and the DoD is doing SBIR. Up until about, let's say, 2 years ago, the way that the DoD in general and the Air Force as part of it has worked as part of solicitations, opportunities, SBIR, were, as Asher said, they would publish a solicitation, they will publish a need, they would say, I need a technology that does this and that. And then companies would apply their technology and their solution to this need and offer the Air Force or the DoD or whatever agency a way to use their technology to solve this problem. But this process was too slow. The Air Force didn't really know what was out there for them to use, and so they didn't really know how to solve this problem. So, or what were the problems that they were facing? Because not only did they didn't ask for the correct solution, the Air Force themselves, the airmen themselves, didn't have a platform to show or to tell the Air Force what they need. So around 3 years or 4 years ago, AFWERX started to work and started to create their methods of working. And about 2.5 years ago, the first cycle of AFWERX came out as an open topic. They have focus areas, they kind of like guidelines, But right now, it's an opportunity-driven solution. Basically, what the Air Force is saying, you have a technology, you have something that is of a dual use. You have commercial use, commercial clients. Maybe also you work with the DoD and other members of the military. Show me what you got. Tell me how I can use you. Tell me how I can use your innovation. And they understood, and Dr. Bill Roper from Air Force, the main acquisition officer of the Air Force, our chief acquisition officer, said that he didn't encounter a technology. He wasn't presented with a technology from a company that the Air Force didn't have somehow to use it. So basically what they're saying, give me your best shot. Tell me what you have. Tell me how you think I can use that. Tell me how I can help you mature a solution and finalize the development and help you get into the market. And I want that. I'll find a way to use that. So that's basically AFWERX SBIR. So they want to solve challenges by engaging with small businesses and in the tech community. As part of phase one, you pitch your technology, and then finding a user or a customer within the Air Force. And then as part of phase two, you're testing the system and showing them how you're going to use that. So that's basically AFWERX SBIR, the open topic. Everything goes, even if you don't fit with the focus area and you think that you have a solution, you know someone in the Air Force that tells you, yeah, I think this is something that would be of interest. Submit. You never know. We had cases, we will see them down the road. We had cases of companies that you would have never thought that the Air Force would have wanted their solution or need their solution. Next slide, please. So basically, what AFWERX is looking for, obviously they want innovation. It is still an SBIR. It's still focused on the development on R&D. They want to see groundbreaking technology that will help them go to the future and solve problems through an innovative technology. You need to show them that there's a military need. And you know, the military is big enough so that they will need almost everything. But maybe they don't need, I don't know, I can't think of something. Why? I don't know. You know what? I can't even think of something that they won't need. I don't have a good enough solution. I don't know. Anyway, so just need to show them that there's a need and show them a concrete need. Show them the user. Show them the unit that will need your solution, or you think that will need your solution and use your solution. You need to have a strong team, both on the development side. So you need to have someone, a CTO, VP R&D, head of design, head of development, whatever, that has done something before and has proven and has delivered on this topic. And you need to have people who are experts in your field. If you are an AI company, but you know, the people that you present as the development leads are in the world of fabrics, it doesn't make any sense. But if you're a fabric company and you have R&D people, R&D leaders who are from the field of the fabric, and then that obviously makes sense. Same way for marketing and sales. They need to know that you're a company that the people in the company can take you to the next level. After development, they want to know that you can tap into the market. And also they want to know that you have commercial success. You know, they need to know it's SBIR again, so the dual use, the marketing is very important for them. So they need to know that you have clients or beta sites or people who have shown interest in your solution. So all these four make for a strong SBIR application, and obviously for the AFWERX application. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have three phases, as Asha said before. Phase one is some kind of a seed money, 50K in this case for 2 months or 3 months, where you just test the ground. What you need to do is you need to prove to potential clients and that your system has some kind of a merit and opportunity for them, and you need to sign a memorandum of understanding with them to test the system itself. After that, as part of the phase two, you're testing your system. You have a pilot site. You're finalizing development. You're adding certain aspects to the system according to the need of the Air Force or your client, and then you're testing it with them, showing them that it's possible. Then, as part of phase three, you're commercializing it and expanding into the DoD, the Air Force, and other agencies, and obviously into the market. We also have a phase 2B, which is a bridge between phase 2 and phase 3. It's something that is rather new for AFWERX. It's maybe you saw that. It's called strat fee and TAC fee, 2 levels of support, which are bridging, giving you the additional money that you need from the phase 2, from the prototyping to the commercialization. And this can be very big money. The strat 5, which is the bigger company opportunity, is for between $3 and $15 million. TAC fee is is tactical, so it's smaller. It's between 375 to 1.5 billion or so. But both of them are more commercialization oriented, and you need to have substantial supporting funds or matching funds. So you don't see it here because it's rather new. It's not really, it still has SBIR money. It's very, very selective, very, very competitive. If we're talking about number of winners, phase 1, you can expect about 1,000 winners every year under AFWERX. Phase 2, we're talking about anywhere between 150 to 300 people or companies who will win. Phase 3, it's not limited. It's not SBIR money, so you can't really know how much winners there will be. But obviously, hopefully, everyone will win that. And for StratFi, we're about 20 companies who will receive the award, 20 or 30 awards companies. So very, very competitive. So you can see here, it says here AFWERX 2023, but it's the same for AFWERX 21.1, which is where we are right now. Phase 1 is EK for a duration of 2 months plus 1 month for reporting. And the goal is to get an MOU. It's not about the money, it's about the contract that you have from the Air Force. With that, you go to different users, to different units and people in the Air Force and telling them, I have a contract, I'm legit, I was tested, let's talk about what I can do for you. Phase 2 and direct to phase 2 is currently about $750,000 for a duration of 12 months. And the goal is to test the system and prove to them that your system has merit and they can do something with it and enjoy your system for their own need. There are basically 3 options as the process from phase 1 to phase 3 or through working with Air Force. The first one is the full one. You go to phase 1, you submit it, you find an MOU as part of a contract as part of phase 1. You go for phase 2. After phase 2, you prove to the Air Force and to the unit that you work with that your system is capable of doing whatever it is that you told them that you're going to do. And then you go for a 3, in which you spread out and have procurement contracts with the unit that you work with and other units in the Air Force itself. Another option is going from phase 1 and directly to phase 3, because you found someone in the Air Force that you have convinced that your system is capable of providing them with value without the need of a proof of concept. So you can go from phase 1 directly to phase 3. And the third option is that you know someone within the Air Force who is willing to give you an MOU without going through phase 1. So you start with an MOU that you could go directly to phase 2 and then submit to phase 3 without going through phase 1. There is a fourth option, a theoretical option for going directly to phase 3. Again, it's not that, it's also a possibility for you, but it's not really a process that is of interest for us at least, because there's no SBIR money. Here we're looking at the process of going through the SBIR money and SBIR support. So you don't really see here a direct phase 3, but it's optional. So regarding the focus areas, as I said before, I mean, you can see the focus objective of this topic is to explore innovative defense-related dual-purpose technologies not covered by other specific SBIR topics. Therefore, the topic will explore options for solution outside of the Air Force's current focus field, but could be useful. Meaning, what they're saying here, in other words, everything, as I said before, everything that you have may be of interest for us. I don't want to limit you with topics, with needs, with explanations. Just submit your solution, and I'll see if this is something that I can use. They have focus areas, they have some kind of guidelines, but they also say they have a blue sky topic, which whatever you want, give me whatever you want, and I'll see if it's relevant for me. The same goes for the phase 2. Phase 2 is just to test your solution with the Air Force itself, with the unit that you have found as part of phase 1. So there's no topic here. There's no guideline as to what they look for, but usually it's just a continuation of the phase one. So you have them a solution as part of phase one. You're going to test this, maybe a little bit different, maybe with some additions based on this or on your talks with the unit that has signed your contract. So you're going to test it with them. Usually it will be about the same as the phase one. As I said before, when they say open topic, they really do mean open topic. They don't know what they need. It's up to us to tell them what they need. So everything goes, everything is open, everything is relevant for them.
All right, Aaron, I'm going to jump in here. So our internal company deadlines are, we have an early bird deal that if you start before December 25th with us, we're able to offer a month in addition of our services. The last chance to get in with us to be able to apply to AFWERX is going to be January 15th. Just because we need to get the time to put the materials together and put the best application together as possible. So it's ideal to be earlier rather than later. Okay, so one other interesting thing that AFWERX has been doing recently is that they have pitch day events, which means that if you're accepted to pitch at a pitch day event, they are willing to fund you if they're impressed, obviously, but they're willing to fund you with a credit card swipe. So it's been a really interesting. So there's no waiting around for months. There's no stress about, you know, corresponding between project managers and grant writers and the like, but you're able to kind of cut away some of the middlemen and get straight to it, which is really nice. We recommend that everyone at least has it on their horizons and keeps up to date about that. So again, how it works is you're invited to pitch. You pitch to an audience of Air Force stakeholders. Again, you win the same day, and they're one-page contracts, so not too complicated. The current topics are advanced manufacturing and rapid sustainment, and they're trying to find innovative advanced manufacturing and sustainment technologies to help them. Okay, so everyone here can read these. These are some of the companies that we have won with. So we're working with, you can see that there's a lot of different kinds of companies, and there's even companies that initially you might not think, hey, video and live streaming tech is something that the Air Force would be interested in. But it's like what Eran was saying. Essentially, if there's a use case for it, you have to prove it to them. They don't. They want you to impress them and to wow them and to show them what they need. So if you have something that makes sense in any way, they're more than happy to take a look at it. Okay, so in kind of our history, this is our historical results. We've had 24 submissions. Out of those 24, we've had 14 win the first phase, and then we've had 2 direct to phase 2 submissions. We're still waiting on a few phase 2 results from the last round. Okay, so I know that Eran and I talked a ton about AFWERX, and it is a fantastic program, and there is rapid funding, and it's very nice, but there are a lot of opportunities for Q1 that everyone should be aware of. I mean, there's DHS, which has some really cool open topics. There's AFWERX, as we spoke about. The Department of Defense. The Department of Defense, again, they have multiple subsidiaries. The Department of Energy is due in February, and they have 157 focus topics, so quite a wealth. The NSF is also coming up for Q1. They just closed on December 3rd, their last round, and NASA is also available. They're coming up real fast. For us, the deadline to apply to NASA has passed with us. That being said, their proposal date is until January 8th if you want to do it on your own. Again, as we said before, it should be a tool that's in your toolbox, right? So be aware of it, take charge of it. So again, these are some of our internal deadlines for the other Q1 opportunities. So a lot in just coming up on December 20th, and a few more in January as well as February. So what we found to be the key to winning federal grants is not to put your eggs in one basket and say, hey, I'm gonna try for AFWERX, and if it doesn't work out, then that's it. But statistically, if you apply to more than one opportunity, mathematically, you have more of a chance of success. So not just putting your eggs in one basket, spreading them around, diversifying. And then you have to know the system because each different agency is looking for something different. So the scientist who's looking at your grant proposal at NASA is not going to be the same admiral or general who's looking at your proposal in the Navy or the Army, let's say. So you have to know the system and know who you're talking with, right? The next thing you need to do is build a clear case. You can have the best technology on the face of the earth, but if you do not know how to present it, you will not win a grant. Easy as that. It's unfortunate, but that's how it is. So again, telling a story about it, letting people know how it is, how it works, and why it's relevant. It's so important. And as we said before, 1 is very similar to 5. It's not only finding multiple opportunities, but it's also engaging in those multiple opportunities. And like we said before, diversifying. So a little bit about us. We're a division of the Freemind Group, and we started in 1999. We've won over 1.6. That's actually 1.5 is a little bit old. $1.6 billion in awards. We specialize in this. This is our bread and butter. Our goal is to help small companies win. We have a very robust team of grant writing staff as well as support for them, because again, this is what we focus on. This is our bread and butter, and it's really one of those things that companies need to take advantage of. So what to expect if you want to work with us. So usually, once we sign a contract with the company, within 24 hours to 72 hours on the later side of it, they'll have a project manager assigned, and we'll have a step-by-step strategic plan for upcoming funding built. Basically, we do not limit the amount of submissions. There is even a company we were talking about internally who's doing way more than 10. I don't know the number now. It's probably grown since we last spoke about them, but usually 5 to 10 on average. This is because there's some commitment expected on the side of the company. So if you want to pursue this aggressively, we are more than happy to help you pursue it aggressively and make sure that you're able to hit your goals and get to where you want to be with this. Okay, perfect. So here is my Calendly link. If you guys want to schedule a call, you can either use a QR code or you can simply click on that link. Again, I'm going to send out the webinar slides and recording. What we're going to do now is that Iran, again, is an encyclopedia. So I'd love to open up the floor for anyone to ask questions, and Iran will answer them live to kind of give you the best insight of what there is to be known about federal funding and how to take advantage of it. So feel free to start typing, guys, or feel free to book some time. Oh, we are offering a month free for anyone who books a call from this webinar. So yeah, feel free.
Okay, so I'll start answering the questions as they go. Vanessa is asking, are there opportunities only for US companies? SBIR opportunities that we have discussed today are only for American-based, American-owned, American-operated company. You can have non-American people in the company itself, but they need to have at least a visa. And it's always preferable that the prime investigator and the key personnel will have at least a permanent resident status. You can't have offshoring. So if you're not an American company, you won't be able to get SBIR, but there are other opportunities, other mechanisms that may be open for a company that's not American-owned or American-based. But yeah, you should, I mean, if you're an American company, this is American funding, so they want to have more money going for American companies. Matthew is asking, what are the Eagle Point funding fees? Basically, what we're talking about is a retainer of between $30,000 and $36,000 for a duration of 9 to 12 months, depending on the amount, on the duration of work, the way and the method of payment. Is it one upfront payment or other methods? And a 5% success fee from any amount that you're receiving from the government. There are limitations, there are caps, there are minimums, there are different types, all types of things in the contract. It's not that hard of a contract, it's only 2 pages. But you know, there are limitations. We don't want to take all the money, we want to take some. We're more interested in you getting award and getting profit from working. For more information, just set up a meeting with Asher or with other people from from our company and you get to the answer itself. Greg is asking, do we need a SAM registration? Yes, you need a cage code, you need a DUNS number, you need EIN or TIN. Yes, you need that. SAM, for those of you who don't know what it is the System of Award Management. It's a system that every company who is working on grants with the American company needs to be registered at. At the end of a tedious process of registration, which takes anywhere between 5 minutes to 2 hours, and then about 3 weeks or so of a review, which usually is not done on one sitting, you're assigned something that is called a cage code, which is some kind of an ID number for the company that shows that you're eligible to do work with the government itself. So yes, you need to be registered at SAM. It's preferable to do that as early as possible because it takes at least 3 weeks for them to review and approve it. So Vanessa is asking a follow-up question, US subsidiary count. Yes, if you have a subsidiary in the United States, it is counted, but you need a subsidiary, the company that is submitting the application, to be eligible, meaning that they need to be owned by American citizen or permanent resident. Hedge funds should be limited to below 50% to be eligible. No offshoring, and only people who are eligible to do work in the United States working in the company. Also, if you're doing an SBIR or a project for development and you want, so you need to have the people in the States working on the project itself. Again, no offshoring. Matthew is asking, can we have foreign investors as long as they collectively own less than 50%? The short answer is yes. It's not, the longer answer is it's not only how much they own, it's also about control. You need to show that you don't give up the control of the company is still or yet by American citizens or permanent residents. So you can have foreign nationals owning a part of the company, so long as you said, less than 50%, and that the majority or the control itself in the company is by the American citizen or permanent resident. David is asking, the AFWERX announcement refers to 21.1 SBIR CTR open topic AMA number 1. The DoD Air Force BAA refers to topic Air Force 21.1. DCS-01 and DCS-02, are these the same thing? No. All of them, I think, are governed by AFWERX, but the Air Force this time has, I mean, it's something that they started, I think, last cycle before. They started having, when you see a topic that is called DC-01 or DC-02 or DC-03, it's direct to face to a topic. The Air Force started having both specific topic and very general topics. So AFWERX is governing the open topic, as the Air Force, basically AFRL, is governing the direct to phase 2 and the non-open topics. So it's not the same. They may decide to use AFWERX as kind of like a method of contracting because they're very agile and very quick about it, but it's not the same. So it's two different opportunities, not two different topics and two different solicitation, I think, if I'm correctly. An anonymous attendee is asking, if you're an American registered, run and managed company with American employees, but the majority of the ownership shares are owned by foreign nationals, are we still eligible? The main question is that foreign national permanent resident or not? If he has a permanent resident status, then yes, you should be eligible. If he's not, then you're not eligible for SBIR. I will say again, there are other opportunities that are not SBIR for you to go. There are more non-SBIRs than SBIRs, but we like SBIRs more because they're quicker and let's say easier to win usually. Also, there are cases where they give some kind of exemption exemptions or agree to change their terms. Very, very, very rare, but sometimes they do. Usually not about the foreign nationals. So that's about that. Sunil is asking, is the Eagle Point due by the company once funding is secured? I'm not sure I understand the questions. I assume that you're asking is, are we when are we paid? Where do we collect the success fee? If that's so, then just raise your hand so I know that I answered the correct question. So yeah, we are only, okay, great. So we're only collecting, we're only being paid, or we are invoicing you only when you get money from the government. It's a back-to-back payment. Unfortunately for us, we would have loved to get all of it upfront, but when you pay, we get 5% of the money that you paid, unless you want to have some kind of other arrangement, which we'd be very happy to do. But again, for every question on that matter, just set up a meeting with Asher or with the other members of our sales team, and you will get that. Keith is asking, do you provide guidance for OTA? OTA is other transaction actions. I'm not sure what you mean by guidance. We make applications for OTAs as well. Usually they're the same opportunity. We're not working that much with that. It's a rather new mechanism, so I'm not 100% confident with working with that yet. But yeah, we can work with that. A grant is a grant in general. So not as much as I would have wanted to, but we can work with that as well. David is asking for AFWERX awards and security clearances needed. Are security clearance needed? If not needed, are they helpful? Case by case, it depends on what you're working with. If you're working with a system that is that needs to be installed in an Air Force base, if you're working with their computers, if you're working with their website, with their systems themselves, maybe you will need a clearance. I don't know. It depends on the topic itself. In most cases, as far as I know, most of our clients that won SBIRs do not have clearances because they didn't need that. They didn't work inside the Air Force's bases. They didn't do anything with their systems themselves. So I don't think it will. I think to say the least, it won't hurt to have some kind of a clearance. But I don't know to tell you if it's helpful at the beginning of the process. Keith is asking, did I hear you say that Eagle can assist in finding a phase 2 customer for AFWERX? We can assist to some level. We're not, I mean, what we do as part of phase 1, we're searching for relevant users and partners within the Air Force and give you the names of the units and sometimes the names of people inside the units that you can talk to. So we give you some kind of guidelines and a push towards what we think would be the correct way. And we guide you to other mechanisms and other places where you can find the users themselves. We're not making the actual connections, but we can guide you towards that and help you in the process itself. We're not matchmakers in this world. Yeah.
Also, we're starting a new event called the Deep Tech Showcase that will have some Air Force subsidiaries there. Stay tuned for that. You'll probably see some LinkedIn events concerning that, but we do have, we're starting to open up to having a little bit more of bridging that gap. Just so everyone knows.
Yeah, you need to understand this is something rather new, and we're building it up, and we have from the Air Force high-ranking officials and people from different units who have shown interest in working with us and helping that in that way. We're starting that. The website for that is live, I think. If you search, what is it? Deep Tech Connect, something like that. Sure, right?
Deep Tech okay, Showcase. I'm gonna put it in the Q&A.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to.
Search Deep Tech or type deeptechshowcase.com and you'll see the website itself in one word. So David asks, so where are topics like AMA #1 published? If you go for if you search for the AFWERX SBIR and AFWERX SBIR solicitation, you can find it. Usually it's the topics themselves are published either at beta.sam.gov or at the Air Force's website. So there are different places where you can find it. The AMA is Ask Me Anything. I mean, it's a process of, it's them presenting their solution, presenting the topic, and presenting with other present and explaining to the companies who want to submit the process, what to know, and other things that are important for them. It's not a topic. There is only one topic that is published in their solicitation. Search AFWERX SBIR 21.1 solicitation. Most likely you will find it. Shio King is asking, do we need specialized people on the team to prepare for the SBIR STTR open topic? You need someone to write. You need someone who will be able to write the application itself or work with us and provide us with the information that we need. Also, you need to understand, to find the people who will guide the process afterwards. So I don't know, specialized people on the team to prepare for the SBIR STTR. Basically, for the phase 1, the main thing that you will need is someone in the business development, sales, marketing, and maybe in the R&D world that will be able to talk to the Air Force and present your solution. That's the main thing that you will need. And Sunil, I meant the payment deferral point, so I think I answered that before. That's the last of the Q&A. Let's see on the chat. What's the cost? Do you charge upfront, success-based, free? So as I said before, it's a mix of upfront and success fee. If the first grant is $50K, what are generally your fees for that kind of application? So for the $50K, if you calculate 5%, it's about $2,500 plus the upfront, which is $50K. Sorry, 30 or 36K. So that's the fee. Obviously, we're not interested, and you're not interested in the $50K. We're interested in the $750,000 and the follow-up $2 million or $3 million or $5 million and the other bigger opportunities. But we need to start small and grow, and the process takes time. Usually don't start right away with a multiple million. You start with a $50K, $100K, $150K, the smaller awards, and you build up towards the phase 2, phase 3, the expansion programs, the BAAs. It's a long process. That's one of the reasons why we work for a year and not just have a one and done. Okay, I think that's the last question. That's it, I guess. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. And schedule a call with Asher. And yeah, Asher?
Sure. And if there's any last stragglers who have any last questions.
Asher, you want to say something before I finish?
No, that's it. If there's any stragglers, type your question now or forever hold your peace. There it is.
Another question. I have multiple phase 1 of AFWERX awards. I need capital to bridge since the cash flow starts slowly. I need to hire programmers prior to start phase 2. I will connect with investors that can do seed or convertible debt. Maybe as part of the Deep Tech Showcase, there will be also investors. Right now, we're not working with investors. It's one of our goals for 2021 and 2022. But right now, it's not something that is no, it's not something that we do currently.
But again, the Deep Tech Showcase will start doing that. And we're going to have a webinar on that on December 28th. So stay tuned for that. I think that's about it. Aaron, thank you so much for answering all of those questions and really guiding it through. And thank everyone for
thank you everyone
us.
and thank you everyone and hopefully we'll see your name again. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Have a good rest of your night. Good day.